Yo, welcome to Containing Luxury. On this episode, we're actually going to be covering the InSoFast system. We couldn't do it on the inside because ours was already completely finished, but since we're going to be covering the exterior and different types of insulation on the exterior, we figured we could show you how the InSoFast system works and if it will work for exactly the application that we're doing it. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing you're gonna notice is, you can kind of see our container is a little bit dented up. So we have a used container. We've covered that in some of our previous videos. So the first thing we realized when InSoFast was kind enough to send us the sample pack was that it does not ride. So if Ryan can sneak up in here, these first three bays, it works pretty well. That it's kind of riding in the seams, and we have enough area to get that glue to adhere. Now we have a dent in this panel, and this one is not. So I can't put adhesive in these sections like it's intended and get this to grab. So that's going to cause a pretty big problem for us. Now you can kind of see the channels on the back of this. It's meant, sorry, it's all squeaky. So you're meant to take that PL liquid nails, same stuff that we used on our insulation video, but you put that on these tracks here, and that's all that's needed to install this. So what you could see is it's very quick, but in the case that you have a dented old container, these channels might be hanging off the wall, and that's going to cause a problem because then the glue is not going to grab, and the adhesive is the only thing holding all this together. So if you have a used container, I would 100% not recommend getting InSoFast. If you have a brand new or one trip container that's in, just about perfect condition, then you could use this system. And it is going to be ultra fast. It's literally a puzzle piece of just gluing these panels in place. And once I get this one in place, then picking it up and putting it in there as well. If you were doing this on the exterior like this, it's the same concept on the inside. It's just flipped around. These channels, they have these electrical raceways. Now, they are built out of just the same foam. And for me, it seems like, because this, you can break it off pretty easy. So it seems like if I was trying to fish like 3 Romax wires through that channel, not only is it really small, but I'd have to foresee it getting stuck along the way if that wire, as you're trying to force it through and ripping this insulation apart. So that kind of seems like they could upgrade this, especially since they already have the molding into the stud. If they put a sleeve in there, that would make it slide through a lot better. The only thing I can think of is they may have done that on purpose so that if I had an electrical box that happened to be right here that I wanted it, I have to use something to cut this out, which InSoFast has these little plunge cutters that are heated that would go in to cut this out to put my electrical box in, approximately, and then I could just break into that channel pretty easy to get into that. So it's kind of a catch-22. It seems like an area where I'm not going to be able to efficiently fish wire, especially if I have multiple wires, but it is going to allow me to break into it and access that channel a lot easier, being that it isn't reinforced. So there's just a couple of things that it really breaks down to, I think for me, is the complexity of the design of the house that you're building. If you have a lot of electrical going in there and a lot of custom, recessed lighting and stuff, I probably wouldn't go this route. If it's really basic and you're just gonna have a couple of outlets and a couple of lights that are gonna be, centrally located, or standard fixtures that are gonna be mounted in the ceiling, surface mount, then this system might work for you. But I think with the complexity of our build, how custom we really wanted to do it with tons of wiring running all over for 3-way switches, it would have been very difficult to get all of our electrical and our plumbing done using this system. I think I probably would have spent more time cutting it apart and having to go back and foam it all together than I would have just, insulating the outside and just running regular metal studs. However, now, since we're talking about the outside, I do think that this system is fantastic for outside. I would like to see the price go down a little bit if I didn't have all these electrical raceways, because I don't need them for the exterior. And in the few places that I would need to you know, put electrical in. I could probably just fish it down and cut it out and foam it in. Wouldn't be a big deal. But on the exterior, I think this would be a really efficient, super quick process because it gives me my studs. You know, on the other insulation that we showed you before, you had to snap lines. So not only are we gluing these, so it eliminates all of our 2x2s that we have right here. We don't have to install this. We don't have to install the insulation board. And when I go directly to my siding, you know, when I'm putting my siding over this, I know exactly where all my studs are. So that is a nice system. And they're gonna find, these are actually 24 on center. So most of your framing's gonna be 16 on center. So 24 on center is a little bit of a span, but it's okay for your siding. But I think it would be great on the outside. It's just really expensive. And you know, part of that expensive part is they have all these electrical raceways built into it. And I don't really need that if I'm doing it for siding. So maybe if they had another panel that didn't have electrical raceways, they could drop the price point. I think this would be a fantastic way to finish off your exteriors because it's a lot quicker than sitting here ripping down all these 2x2s, gluing them and drilling through and screwing them in, and then putting insulation board over the top of that. So this is a really quick process, and you may make up your money in labor. So this is the CX panel that InSoFast made. They did actually send me a big kit of a bunch of different panels. So they have these ones, which are kind of cool. So, you know, if you wanted to insulate really well, you could actually put these. And then if you had a different type of insulation or you were going for some low profile, you could fill in the gaps and then frame on the interior with this. The price on these little pieces, I honestly don't know. I'm not even sure if you can just order a ton of these. But again, you know, you probably just glue them and stick them in there. But if I'm going through all that trouble, I could probably just, you know, insulate the outside and go with this system. So in the kit that InSoFast sent me, they had these other little lower profile panels. When I, you know, say I was doing this on the inside and I didn't have these in place, I could actually slide this behind my panel and glue these in place. It's a lot of work though, so I think, you know, it is kind of nice if you have a different option of low profile insulation for the inside. You know, essentially you could copy this on the interior, but it makes more sense to do it on the outside. In some cases, you're going to be limited that you have to insulate the inside if you want to keep that raw container look. But then, you know, you got to take into consideration, I think that system, the CX panels, are going to be the better way to go because it's a much more insulation value. And I think if you got into gluing these in, these panels in every single one of these channels and then put framing in and then put another insulation board, you probably might as well just have done closed cell spray foam. It's not gonna, the amount of time you spend doing all that in material, you could just hire a company to come in and spray it. So I think if you were forced to use insulation on the inside and you wanted to use the InSoFast system, this would be the only one to use because you're gonna get a better R value out of it. And it's got your studs built in, so it's your insulation and your framing. But again, it's gonna have that issue with electrical. If your design is really complex and has a lot of custom fixtures and custom locations, I think this is gonna be a little bit more of a pain. And if you're going that custom, you probably have the budget to be able to just frame everything the way you want, get all your electrical in place, and then spray foam closed cell. But overall, I think this is a great system for the right application. And I think on my next build, I'm probably going to use it on the exterior. But I would love to see the price go down a little bit. It's borderline on the edge of where do I justify it or not. So that's the one dilemma I have. And they wouldn't, again, need any of the electrical raceways. But that's my honest review. So if there's something that you guys want me to cover specifically about the InSoFast, hit the comments and we'll try and you know, answer everything we can. We're also going to be doing Q&A of all the best questions that have been most commonly asked that we can kind of go through and answer for you guys. So again, we appreciate everybody chiming into our channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to support us, we're an educational channel. So hit that Patreon account. So we'll see you guys on the next one.